Hola clase! In this video we're going to preview the imperfect tense. You'll learn about it, you'll learn its endings, you'll learn a few of its uses and have a little bit of practice, and then we'll be able to do a lot more with it in class next time that we meet. Are you ready? Here we go. In this video, I'll show you how to conjugate the imperfect tense, and we'll talk a little bit about when to use it. It has lots of uses, but we're going to start with some basic ones for now. Let's start with regular AR verbs, something like maybe bailar. We'll start by taking our infinitive, removing the infinitive marker at the end, and then we'll add our endings. Aber, abas, aber, habamos, it has an accent, habáis, and haban. So we take the bail part and add the ending. So, bailaba, bailabas, bailaba, bailábamos, bailabais, and bailaban. Right now you may be asking yourself, wait a minute, if the yo and the el, ella, usted forms are the same as each other, how am I going to know the difference? The same way that you know in English, you'll have somebody's name or some other indicator of who it is. Let's do ER and IR verbs. These are also pretty easy. So if we start with something like comer, we'll chop off the infinitive marker and add our endings. These all have accents. Comía, comías, for él, ella, and usted, comía, comíamos, comíais, that's a lot of vowels in a row, and comían. It would be the same for an IR verb like salir. Salía, salías, salía, salíamos, salíais, and salían. Just like with the AR verbs, the yo form and the él, ella, usted forms share endings. Something you're going to love about the imperfect tense is that it only has 3 irregular verbs guaranteed ever. The first of them is ir. Yo iba, tú ibas, él, ella, and usted iba, nosotros y nosotros íbamos. Like all nosotros forms for the imperfect, there's an accent. Ibais and iban. Ver is also irregular. Veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veíais, that's another bunch of vowels in a row, and veían. Ser is the third and final irregular for this tense. Yo era, tú eras. When we get into class tomorrow, I'm going to be reminding you to say era and not era. Era, éramos, erais, and eran. So that's our 3 irregulars. Now that we know how to make them, let's talk about when to use them. You use the imperfect to talk about things that we used to do or things that we would do in the past. We use the imperfect whenever in English you would use the past progressive, like we were doing something, we were studying, we were walking, I was eating breakfast. And there are more uses to come. Later on, we'll learn how to contrast and compare our 2 big past tenses, the imperfect and the preterite. For now, we're going to stick with things that we used to do or things that we would do in the past. Let's try for some practice. We'll compare and contrast my life and your life now, ahora, and en la escuela primaria. So nowadays, vivo en Pensilvania. Ahora vivo en Pensilvania. En la escuela primaria, vivía en Pensilvania también. So here's my ia ending to say, I used to live. Ahora trabajo. Y en la escuela primaria, feel free to pause the podcast if you would like to have a little more time before you answer. En la escuela primaria no trabajaba. Ahora comemos en la cafetería. Y en la escuela primaria comíamos en la cafetería también. Ahora voy a la escuela en carro. And you might have seen my car in the parking lot. Pero en la escuela primaria iba a la escuela en autobús. Ahora mis amigos beben cerveza. En la escuela primaria, mis amigos no bebían cerveza. Ahora somos adultos. En la escuela primaria, éramos niños. Ahora veo películas en el internet. En la escuela primaria, veía películas en el cine. Nosotros no teníamos internet. Ahora tenemos mucha tarea. En la escuela primaria no teníamos mucha. Ahora sabes manejar un carro. En la escuela primaria no sabías. Ahora tus amigos se acuestan tarde. En la escuela primaria, tus amigos se acostaban temprano. Okay, let's recap what we've seen, and we'll do a lot more with this in class. So, the imperfect is a kind of a past tense. It's often used to communicate what we used to do in the past. It only has 3 irregulars, yay for that. Make sure that you know the endings for the regular AR verbs, the regular ER verbs, and IR verbs in the imperfect, and also our 3 irregulars for our next class. We'll do lots more practice then. Hasta la próxima!